So in today's video, I am going to show you what I believe is the best way, the very best way to increase your vocabulary in learning ancient Greek, whether it's for the study of the Bible or for the study of ancient Greek classical texts or whatever it may be. This is the best way that I have found in order to maximize the number of words that you know in the shortest possible time. So to do this, I'm going to show you two resources, one of which I found elsewhere and one of which I made myself based on this resource. So let's just dive right into it. So the first would be this file right here, and as you can see here, this is a vocabulary list that was created by somebody, I assume a professor at LSU, and so that's Louisiana State University. So some professor at Louisiana State University came up with this brilliant idea of making an alphabetized list of the most common Greek words. So that's why he's entitled it Core Greek Vocabulary for the first 2 years. So that would be most of us who are studying Greek. We're in the first 2 years of our studies. I actually just completed my second year of study of Greek, and I really wish that I had had this list in my possession much earlier. So let's find out what is so great about this particular vocabulary list. So as you can see here, the writer says that the goal behind this list is to provide a set of words that are likely to be a core vocabulary, I can't pronounce words today, for a wide range of ancient Greek texts. And this is the part that I think is the most interesting. You can see here that they have this concept called the 80% idea. So speakers of languages have to know lots of words to know how to speak fluently, but actually there are fewer common words that make up the large bulk of the average text. So what they say here is that in English, 100 common words make up half of an average text, such as the word the and that sort of thing. And in many languages, 80% is a rough boundary between the core standard words and the more specialized vocabulary. In other words, 80% of the words in a typical passage of English would be a repetition of a relatively small core vocabulary, while the remaining 20% contains most of the more specialized vocabulary. So if you read a book about boats, 80% of the book will probably be made up of words that everybody knows, but a portion of the remaining 20% would be more specific vocabulary referring to naval vessels specifically. So the point behind learning 80% of the common words in the language is to give you the core vocabulary that you need in order to grasp about 80% of any text that you're reading. So that can help you read texts a lot faster while having to look up fewer words because you already know the basic words that show up in most of the text. And here's where some of the better news shows up. Well, it's actually both good news and bad news, but we'll talk about it as if it's good news. So when we talk about an 80% list for the language, for the Greek language, we can see here that the number of words that we would have to know is smaller, and so let's find out why that is. As students of ancient Greek know, some Greek words can appear in multiple forms. Now, I'm not going to explain what that means in this video because I'm assuming that if you're studying Greek and you're watching this video, you probably understand that in Greek, words can change. They can have suffixes and prefixes added to them to change their meanings. But we won't go into that right now. So, the question is, did the Greeks have a memory that's vastly superior to that of other languages? The answer is no. They knew multiple forms of many words, but Greek uses a smaller number of different words because you change the forms of the words in order to change what types of words that you're using. So many languages have a core of about 2,000 or 3,000 words that would generate the 80% portion that comprises all the really common words that we would know. So in English, it's about 2,300. Greek, however, reaches the 80% mark with half the number of vocabulary items. So the goal here, then, is to capture those words that make up the 80% of most Greek. So, and down here they explain how they generated this list, and I think it's actually pretty great. So the Perseus Project, which is a really big fancy collection of ancient Greek texts, includes lots of words, 3.8 million words of text from many ancient sources. And it can also generate vocabulary lists based on these texts. So what the person who compiled this list did is to generate an 80% list based on these texts, and what he came out with was 1,193 words. And the time that he did this was way back in 2004, and it's still useful to people today like me. And that's why I'm sharing it with you, because I feel like this list hasn't really gotten out there. I don't really see it pop up that often, and so I'm trying to give it some more exposure to honor the work that this fellow did. I don't even know who made this, but he's from LSU apparently. So the current list modifies the raw list in 3 ways. Proper names have been removed because those are pretty simple. And 2, some rarer words which appear simply because they resemble more common words have been deleted. And 3, a few words have been added, such as culturally important words or uncompounded forms of verbs, whose compounds are very common. So that makes the list approximately 1,100 words. And it has 404 verbs, 325 nouns, and 188 adjectives. So anyway, as you can see down here, this is what the list looks like. All these words start with alpha, and then it goes down the rest of the Greek vocabulary. And it gives you the word, and then it gives you some of the feminine and neuter endings, and the masculine ending would be right here. So this first word, agathos, is an adjective meaning good, and you can see that it gives you the masculine version first, then the feminine ending that you can replace the sigma with, and then the on here that you can also replace to make it neuter, and so on and so forth. And then it gives you compound words indented here that are also common. And if you just learn this list, you'll have a very good foundation for the study of ancient Greek texts. And people can make vocabulary lists and flashcards out of this, specifically flashcards. That's a way to study vocabulary that I think is very helpful. But you're probably looking at this list of 1,000 words, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, it would be very boring to write out vocabulary flashcards for all of these words. Probably your hand would be hurting by the end of it. And so you might be thinking, well, if only someone were to put all of these words on Quizlet. Well, guess what? That would be my contribution, because that's what I went in on Quizlet to do. So some time ago during the past semester, I decided to take this list and make my own alphabetized groups of flashcards that cover all of these words. But I should say 2 things about these. First, as you can see, I tell you which letters that begin each set of words that begins all of these groups of cards here. So you can see that if you want to study words that have epsilon and zeta, you can go over here. But if you want beta, gamma, and delta, you can go over here. If you want eta, theta, iota, and kappa, then you can go over here. And so I also give some information here that explains how I developed this list. But you can see that one of these groups I didn't make. This list of the 500 most common groups of words, I didn't make it myself because someone else, this guy named Agdawit, 1993 or whoever he is, made it already. So I put it in the folder, so I'm giving credit to him, and I didn't repeat any of these. So if you're looking just to start with the 500 most common words instead of the 1,000 most common, you can go here. And then once you master this, you can go over here to the rest of these that I have made and study the other 500. And the only thing I haven't included in this set yet for these 1,000 words is that I didn't use the compound words. So again, if you go over here and you look at the compound words, I didn't add any of these. I plan on making a flashcard list of these to add to this Quizlet folder that I have, but I haven't done it yet, so I'm just letting you know that it's not complete. But I have gone through all of these, and I've checked them for accuracy, and as far as I know, I don't have any mistakes in my own list. So I'm just trying to put this out there so that it will be useful to you, and I will include the links in the description of the video, both to this set of Quizlet sets and the PDF for this list as well. So I hope that this is useful to you, and if you're studying Greek, I hope that it's able to help you. But in any case, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.